It's tax day too, by the way, and happy Easter, everyone. So if you please could stand down and join us for a prayer, the invocation from the pastor of Emmanuel Baptist Church, and following that we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor?
On behalf of Emmanuel Baptist Church, I am grateful to be able to open this meeting in prayer today. Dear Lord, we love you and we thank you for this beautiful place that we have to live, where we can call home. And we're grateful for the men and women who serve many times behind the scenes just to keep things orderly and just keeping things right the way they ought to be. And so we ask today that you would open this meeting with your blessings, and we thank you so much for many people of faith during this week and into the weekend are celebrating the resurrection of our Lord, and we're thankful that the power of that gives us the strength to live day by day. And I just thank you again for the opportunity to meet in this place to conduct some business, and I just pray that it will be done in a way that's pleasing to you. Give wisdom and give right to the decisions that need to be made and the processes that need to be completed. And again, the main thing that we want to do today is just remember the importance of having you in our lives. And I just pray that everything today will be done decently and in order and honoring to you. And we invoke your blessings today in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Please join the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Good. Ask whatever silence their cell phones, and Commissioner Wayne's not able to be here this morning, so I'll be conducting the meeting this morning as the Vice Chairman. We have a few ceremonials this morning, so we're going to start with the first one. I'll go and kick off the first one. We have Tricia Boone here from the National Therapy Animal Day. Tricia Boone here. Come on down here. If you could, come to the podium. I hope you brought some friends with us. How you doing? How you been?
There you go.
The men in black dog.
Nice seeing you again.
Look, the men in black dog.
Oh,
Frank.
yeah.
So I'm glad they brought some. If you could, Tricia, just stay with me by the podium right here, and I'll read the resolution, then we'll come up with a picture after. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for coming down today, and we actually have some high school friends here from mine, so history repeats itself again, so thank you. I have a proclamation to read the record. Whereas there are thousands of Pet Partners therapy animal teams serving in communities across the United States, and whereas Pet Partners has been designated April 30th as National Pet Therapy Animal Day, and whereas scientific research shows that interacting with therapy animals can reduce stress, relieve depression, slow heart rate, you can leave them here for the day if you want, lower blood pressure, and strengthen the immune system. And whereas therapy animal teams interact with a variety of people in our community, including veterans, seniors, patients, students, and those approaching the end of life. And whereas these exceptional therapy dogs who partner with their human companions from being comfort and healing to those in need. And whereas we encourage more pet owners to consider becoming pet partner volunteers to help our community by creating greater access to meaningful therapy animals. Now, therefore, be resolved, the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida, does here proclaim April 30th as National Therapy Animal Day in Lee County. Encourages all citizens to celebrate this animal therapy and human handlers, further publicize and salute those service team animals in the community across the nation. Duly executed with this day, our Chairman, Commissioner Wayne. Thank you again. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Just the podium right there. You don't have to touch the mic. The mic's on. Just stand there and make the comments. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Just quickly, I wanted to say at the Children's Advocacy Center, we see the power of this every day through our Beasley's Paw Prints Pet Therapy Program, where our amazing pet therapy dogs offer comfort, healing, and unconditional love to children who need it the most. We are truly grateful to the Board of County Commissioners for their continued support and for shining a light on this vital role that the animals play. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's a good way to start the meeting off.
That's awesome.
Next, we have Commissioner Hammond has a ceremonial.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I would like to ask for everybody from the Edison Awards Innovation Challenge, please come stand at the podium while I read a resolution into the record. And this should be students from Dunbar and Bishop Verot, as well as mentors and community partners. Man, good to see everybody. Welcome. All right, so I'll read a resolution into the record recognizing your achievements, and then we'll take a picture together, and then if we can have a spokesperson share a few words with us, that would be awesome. Okay, so the proclamation reads as follows. Whereas the Edison Awards, a global competition honoring innovation and design in partnership with Lee County Economic Development Office, the Horizon Council, and Career Source of Southwest Florida, initiated the AI plus HI Innovation Challenge to encourage high school students to apply AI and human intelligence to community issues. And whereas the challenge fostered collaboration, creative thinking, and technological innovation among local youth to solve for upcoming workforce needs. And whereas students from Dunbar and Bishop Verot High School were provided academic support through teacher sponsors to rise to the challenge, the Solvably Strategist earned first place, and the Verot Visionaries secured second place. I love the names that you guys came up with. DHS Senior Tigers earned third place, whereas the partnership with the Edison Awards, Lee County Economic Development Office, the Horizon Foundation, Lee County School District, and Career Source empowered these students and raised awareness about the impact that STEM and mentorship has on young people, exposing them to technological innovation, collaboration, creative thinking, and entrepreneurial problem solving. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida does hereby recognize the outstanding contributions of the Edison Awards AI plus HI Innovation Challenge, and we congratulate the students, mentors, and community partners for advancing innovation, education, and opportunity in Lee County. It's signed this 15th day of April by our chairman, Kevin Ruane. Congratulations. Thank you for your hard work. I had ChatGPT write the proclamation. So actually, it was a real person.
I'll count us down for a couple of photos. 3, 2, 1. And 3, 2, 1. Thank you.
There you go. Did you really? That's awesome. They were really good. Well, could we have a spokesperson share a few words with us?
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you so much, Commissioner Hammond, for inviting us today for the proclamation. One of the things that we want to talk just a few minutes about is the partnership between the Horizon Foundation, Horizon Council, and also the Lee County Economic Development Office, who sponsored and put together the AI Challenge, and Edison Awards picking it up and celebrating the accomplishments that our students did. So I do want to recognize a few of the students that are here. So our sponsors are Belinda Bell and Denise Spence that are representing here. And our team members for the Solvably Strategist, Sigourney, Hudson, and Alicia. And we have Serena from the Verot Visionaries. So again, want to thank you and just continue to support our students, because we focus on business-related issues in the committees that we have, and recognizing and having our students that are the future of our business recognized in this way, and offering these challenges, the support that you provide, bright futures for Lee County for sure.
Well, congratulations, folks. Thanks again for coming down. I tell you, those students are well on their way. I saw Fortune magazine says that AI fluency is like one of the top skills employers are looking for right now. So fantastic.
Great, thank you.
Mr. All right, I'll go ahead and call up the folks for our next presentation, the people for National Travel and Tourism
You
Week.
got it, okay.
So if the folks for National Travel and Tourism Week from the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau could join us at the podium. It's always one of my favorites.
That's what I was asking, was it sure if you had it, this was on the, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I grabbed it, yep.
We got a team.
Wow, we got a big group. You know what, you guys, can line up right in front here if you're comfortable with that, and I'll read about you while you stare into the eyes of the audience.
You didn't keep in the therapy dogs for the day?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. We're all set. All right. Thank you guys for coming today, and thank you for all your hard work. I'll read the proclamation. It says, whereas tourism is the economic engine of Lee County, driving jobs, businesses, and community growth, in 2024, 3.2 million people visited Lee County, generating $4.9 billion in economic impact. And whereas tourism supported over 42,150 local jobs in 2024, generating nearly $1.6 billion in wages and salaries. And whereas travel spending supports vibrant and safe communities. In fiscal year 24, $11.1 million in tourism dollars were allocated to countywide beach and shoreline projects, and $850,000 went to events and attractions marketing and product development. And whereas thousands of tourism industry employees, with support from the Lee County Visitor and Convention Bureau, work tirelessly to attract visitors and keep Fort Myers, islands, beaches, and neighborhoods a top destination. And whereas travel is an essential industry, and we must continue to communicate that promoting travel contributes to economic growth, benefits businesses, fosters mutual understanding, and connects the nation. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of County Commissioners of Lee County, Florida does hereby proclaim May 4th through May 10th, 2025 as National Travel and Tourism Week, and we urge the citizens of Lee County to join us in recognizing the essential role this industry plays in our communities during the week of May 10th, 4th through the 10th rather. We encourage the community to join us in our efforts to light up Lee at night with blue lights in celebration of National Travel and Tourism Week. It's signed this 15th day of April by our chairman, Commissioner Kevin Ruane. Congratulations, folks.
Proud of you, Peter.
I'll get a little bit closer.
Proud of you.
You got my good side. And Ms. Piken, I don't know if you'd like to say a few words? Yeah.
On behalf of the entire team, and thank you, our Vice Chair Jay Johnson is here with us, some members of the tourism industry. We appreciate the support that the Board of County Commissioners and County Administration give us. And if anyone is interested in lighting their building blue to support us the week of May 4th through the 10th, we would be grateful for that to happen. So out in the community, if you want to light your building blue, please let us know, and we'll make sure that we highlight you as one of the buildings being
So they can
lit
just call the
blue.
Lee County
Yep.
Visitor and Convention Bureau?
Can.
Excellent.
All right, thank you very much. Happy National Travel and
Cam?
Tourism Week.
And Mr. Vice Chairman, I'm going on vacation now that we've got National Travel and Tourism Week.
Yeah, thank you.
How about that?
Take a therapy dog, we have a good vacation.
Yeah, it'd be a great vacation.
Okay, thank you. County Manager, now we're up for honor, we have we'd like to celebrate our employees with the Length of Service Awards now. So, Angela? Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Angela Pruitt from Human Resources, and accompanying me for this celebration is Lynn Peterson from HR, and of course our own County Manager, Dave Harner. We are here this morning to present the Length of Service Awards to all eligible employees for the first quarter of 2025. These awards represent collectively 1,015 years of service to Lee County government. For For those employees that are here this morning, as I call out your name, please step forward to receive your coin from the county manager, greet your commissioners and senior team, and then remain off to the side in order for us to take a group photo at the end of the presentation. I'm going to start with those folks that have 5 years of service. So those folks, if you would make your way to the back of the room so you're ready to come up when I call your name. First up is David Allen from Parks and Rec. Next up, Brian Bays from Procurement. Michael Delargy from Utilities. Melissa Graves from Utilities. Rich Gillen from Parks and Rec. Jamie Hammerbacher from the library. Damian Maynard from Parks and Rec. Jackie McGuire from the library. John Nicholas from Solid Waste. Laura Owen from the library. Aaron Viant from the library. Let's have a round of applause for 5 years of service. Now, starting off with 10 years of service from Human Resources, Sasha Anderson. From Utilities, Joe Cagnina. From DCD, Robert Parker. From Utilities, Juan Rodriguez Quintero. Rodney Van Ness from Human and Veteran Services. Josh Watts from Public Safety. Let's have a round of applause for 10 years of service. "15 years of service. First up, Juan Albino from Human and Veteran Services. Brian Barron from Utilities. Jim Francisco from Utilities. Let's have a round of applause for 15 years of service. Celebrating 20 years of service, Sharum Bodamshian. From the BCP, Simone Bear. From Parks and Rec, Mike Hammond. From Public Safety, Renee Hinkle. Andre Slicia from Transit. Maria Villarreal from DOT Ops. Virginia Walters from Transit. Let's have a big round of applause for 20 years of service. "25 years of service." From the library, Patty DePiro. From public safety, Doug Higgins. From IT, Amy Hoyt. And last celebrant today is Eric Shertoy from Solid Waste. Congratulations to all of our recipients this morning.
Good morning. I'll be taking the photo from up here. We're on the side.
There we go. There we go. Sort yourself. There we are.
All right, awesome. I'll take your deal. Perfect. Thank you all.
Hey, thanks. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming in. Thanks for all the hard work.
Ready to laugh? Sorry. Mark Newsom? Hi, Jason.
Got a whole group.
It's awesome. Swear to God, I can't make it. I'm trying to lie. Yeah, it's amazing. I'm sorry. Ranger to play.
Well, as we get cleared out of the room here, County Manager and Angela, thank you guys for everything. You know, this today shows the family of Lee County. Lee County is one word, so thank you to all the employees, and you see the love within the employees and how happy everybody are. So again, thank you for having a great organization here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
So it's really special.
Okay, well, that's the last ceremonial for the day. We'll go on to the recap. We have one item for a recap, it was the revision and corrections. Kim, Andrew, would you like to address that one?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. This is item number 36. This is to approve the funding awards and solicit public comment for Hurricane Ian CDBGR action plan amendments. So we're just amending 3 items as opposed to the item that was listed in the agenda.
Okay. We gotta get a motion from the board for that?
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that we use the new revised agenda item report as staff.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any public comment on the revision of 36? Okay, we'll come back to the board. Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Okay, thank you. Move on to the consent agenda. Any items for Commissioner Hammond to be pulled?
I have none.
I have none. Commissioner Mulliken? Okay, we have a few cards on the, go ahead and take a motion for that.
I'll move approval of the balance of the consent agenda.
Second.
A motion and a second. We'll take public comment now. We have a few cards on that. I do like to recognize on one of the items, number 17, this past week I attended the volunteer appreciation breakfast at Lake Park, and the foundation, Richmond Foundation of the Lake Park, to donate a golf cart. So item number 17, and we have one speaker for that, Barbara Manzo.
Good morning, Commissioners. Barbara Manzo. I'm currently president of the Lakes Park and Richmond Foundation. With me today is our treasurer, Paul Sloan. Just a quick recap, the Lakes Park and Richmond Foundation has been in existence now for 22 years. And over those 22 years, we've had the pleasure of donating over $2 million worth of amenities to Lakes Park. The most famous of which include our beautiful botanic garden, children's garden, community gardens, workout stations throughout the park, various programs for children, support of summer camp, STEM learning programs, just to name a few. One of the things that we recently decided we needed was a new utility cart to continue to maintain the gardens. For your information, the volunteers at the park, which are over 100 of them, do most of the work in the gardens along with the assistance from the wonderful Parks and Rec staff. And so we purchased this brand new beautiful utility cart, which we love. And Commissioner Pendergrass, did you have the pleasure of seeing it the other day? It was on the truck when you were there.
I saw they're trying to find us. They're trying to find us out there.
So following procedure, what we do is we then donate it to the county. It becomes county property for the volunteers' use, and of course, if necessary, the staff gets to use it also. So we thank you for accepting that donation and our promise to continue to maintain all of the beautiful facilities that we've helped to include in the park. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. Paul, did you have a comment?
Did you want to say anything?
sorry. Thank
Oh,
you.
I'm sorry, and I forgot
you,
to mention,
Commissioners.
Paul did all the work to find the
Yep.
cart for the great price he found it for, and so we
So
thank him for his
They
hard work.
definitely appreciate that club car out there. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next card is Willie Joe Schottmeyer. Willie Joe here. Item number 15. Your Ranger hat on today. Oh, your Ranger Willie today.
We'll be doing better once we can get things moving. On 15, the continuum of care about the funds. Charlie, I don't know if he's called you yet on his plans, but I read some of them last meeting about eventually doing a 4-bedroom above the existing code. But right now, like I said last time, windows need to be done and permits. I would love to have a couple of shipping containers. He would like to have one at the community center, plus one for keeping, organizing on the property that was bought for the purpose of aiding Suncoast Community Center, and I'd like to see it in other communities, you know, places that will aid the needs and the running operations of a place. There's so many people. Today I'll be going there, and you got lines of people coming for food, plus they feed a lunch. So I give them $50 a month so far. Once it's developed, it'll be more. I just spent with Charlie, we went and got some materials getting prepared for you get the permits. Doing the old woman cave, which was, gardening and all that, the cave that Matt Wallace and other people were out there to see that. I tore it off, got the scrap metal ready just for somebody to come and junk. So it's getting that developed, so it's been in revenue to aid the community and also a stipend. I've been trying to get an attorney. I've had several attorneys called and none got back to me. And I told the lady, she says, I'm sorry. I said, it's not your fault. I've got Jasmine even looking for me an attorney that will set up a trust for my daughter. And the rest is going to other people. You know, it's giving back in this world. So I look forward to getting shipping containers. Charlie would love one, and they're going to be permanent. I mean, you're not going to even know it's there because we'll put a fence or something around. It's going to go next to the garage, you know, on this property. I don't know, Charlie, where you'd have that and at the community center. So it's working together, and the funds would be great. But right now, it's Willie's funds. I mean, I just ordered brackets for $100 and some for 6 of them, you know, for your structural 4x4s and that to be hurricane proof. So it's nickel and dime until we get some funding. So getting the permits to start, at least getting the windows, and they're like $100 and some a piece, and one at a time, whatever. So that's what I need. Thank you.
Thank you. I have no other cards or any other public comment on the consent agenda. Close public comment, come back to the board. We have a motion, we have a second. Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Administrative agenda, first item.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the revised administrative item. This is to initiate Hurricane Ian CDBG-DR action plan amendments. I'd like to ask Mr. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeannie Sutton.
You're
This item amends or authorizes the start of a 30-day public comments period for amendments to the CDBG-DR action plan. This amendment will reallocate funds for future critical infrastructure or public facility activities, as well as establishes specific activities for the installation of generators at Tortuga Elementary School and the Lee Health Sports Complex, as well as one shelter hardening project. So the public comment period will begin once the documents are finalized after this meeting, and we will be publishing those on our website to begin the public comment period. Any questions?
Any questions for staff at this time? No questions? Great, thank you. We have a few public comment cards. I could recognize the new mayor of Sanibel, Mike Miller, Sanibel Mayor. Sanibel.
Good morning, Commissioners. Mike Miller, Mayor, on behalf of the City of Sanibel. Thank you, Commissioners, for consideration of the reallocation of approximately $15 million of CDBG-DR funds. The majority of these funds will go for the construction of a new police station on Sanibel. Our present facility was badly damaged during Hurricane Ian because part of the facility is on ground level. It was also outdated. It wasn't set up for a 2-gender police force. The new facility will be elevated, will be more resilient, and we will be able to serve as an incident command center. And then some of the funds will also go to Island Water Association. They currently use a method of water treatment called superchlorination, which involves 10-ton chlorine cylinders that are very dangerous and cannot be transported by barge. So if the causeway were ever out, then in terms of the supply of potable water, we would be limited to a 30-day supply, which is the only supply they can keep on island. So these funds will allow Island Water to switch to a sodium hypochlorite method of water treatment, which is safer and eliminates that transportation problem. We understand the need for deferral of final approval of these projects, as some of these items are part of the legislative apportionment process, but we hope that that delay will not expose these funds to any reallocation or loss in the meantime. Again, thank you for consideration of this reallocation.
Thank you, Mayor. We look forward to working with you and your staff. Your staff is great to work with, and I know our county management enjoys working with your staff, so thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker on this item was Marcellus.
Good morning, Commissioners. Marcia Ellis for the record. So first of all, speaking as the League of Women Voters, we do have some questions out we posed to Jeannie, and we're going to continue to get some vagueness cleared up so that we can put our public comments, since this is the 6th Amendment, on the record as we have throughout this process, continuing to make sure that those funds that were set aside for housing and for bringing affordable housing into this community are utilized for that for those projects and not rediverted to infrastructure projects. Let me just say that we have some data from the Schimberg report that points to the deficits in this community being among the low to moderate income, and those projects have not come on to deal with this burden. Now, speaking for myself, let me just say that I have seen this process take I think it was about 70 million for repetitive flood buyouts, and no one participated in that program. And then it went down to 56 million devoted to repetitive buyouts, and no one participated in the program. And now we're adding, I think it's about, and don't quote me on this, but about 15 million, I believe, from people who could have had their properties elevated and done hardening projects that are being rediverted from your constituents, the people in Lee County, the voters in Lee County, towards infrastructure projects. And I just want to point out that we have to prioritize the housing crisis that is tearing apart this community. And I just urge that as you know, as important as certainly the projects are that we heard from Mayor Miller, that these funds were set aside to deal with housing. We have a proliferation of market rate apartment buildings throughout this community. We have an excess build of commercial coming into this community. And we have an elevated cost of concrete in this community that is unique to here. And I believe that taking our resources and leveraging them in a way, the ways that they have been leveraged, is responsible for driving up the cost of things like concrete that we need to be responsible and make sure that we're taking care of the affordable housing crisis in this community. All of these things work together. It's not that I'm against infrastructure improvements. It's not that I'm against responsible growth, but I think that we do have to have priorities. And I would just ask that the intent of the CDBGDR funds, thank you, be true to what they were intended, and that we deal with this housing crisis first. Thank you.
Marcia. Thank you. Any other public speakers on this item? Okay, we'll come back to the board, and again, we hear again as a board, the cost of regulatory costs, the impact fees, and the cost of all this stuff keeps driving prices up, so it's more reason for reductions and stuff. Any motion for this item?
Chairman, I'll move approval.
Okay. I have a second. Okay. Any other discussion? No?
Chairman, if I may, just
Yes.
under discussion, just I'm curious, you know, I understand the need to reallocate and certainly am supportive of the plan that our staff has put forward. I guess I would just love to hear the feedback. You know, when we first started this process, I was pretty interested in seeing the, you know, the process that would voluntarily help people who wanted to move out of the flood zone into higher and drier areas get funding. How come how come nobody took advantage of that, I guess? Any thoughts on what feedback did we get about why people didn't take advantage of it?
Mr. Chair. Yes, Commissioner Hammond, a few thoughts, and certainly Jeannie can help supplement. But first and foremost, the cap on what we can pay for these properties typically falls short of what they can get on the market. So that's a big reason. A second is that when you're in an HOA community or property owner association of any kind, those associations are unwilling to release these lots to be sold for this program because HUD requires that they go into preservation in perpetuity. So you're losing an assessment that's key to your community, and of course that would bump up everyone else's assessments accordingly. So between those two things, and there are other reasons as well, but those are the largest that I can think of off the top of my head.
Remind me of what the cap was?
$450,000 is what the cap is, yeah.
Was that something that we had any room to move or adjust up or down, or was that?
There is room to move on and adjust that. Jeannie, do you know, can you talk to the limitations?
Yes, so there was room to adjust it. However, It would have to clear out an appraisal, so we still have to get an appraisal of the house to provide some justification. So if we were going to raise the cap, it would have to be based on a case-by-case basis based on the appraisal of the property.
Okay. All right, thanks, sir.
Do you mind, can I just ask you for a recap of this particular process? Because I don't think I was in those meetings last year when you were going over this, just what the program overlay was, if you don't mind, just bullet points.
Absolutely. So voluntary residential acquisition was designated within our original CDBG DR action plan to assist property owners with repetitive loss properties by purchasing their home, demolishing it, reserving the property as green space in perpetuity, as Glenn said, and helping them relocate to a location within Lee County outside of the flood zone. So lots of different program requirements associated with that. We did conduct direct outreach to all of those folks that are on the repetitive loss list via mail, as well as phone calls and just trying to let them know about the program. Didn't get too much interest, and those that did express interest had similar issues that Glenn talked about.
So the $450,000 number would have to pay for buying where they used to live and then paying for the next property as well as one?
That was just the purchase of the home. They could potentially, depending on financial need, beyond that $450, be eligible for home purchase assistance up to $75,000 in addition to that $450.
Okay. No, thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah,
I just wasn't familiar with that.
I feel tremendous comfort too in knowing that you guys reached out to the people who were on the repetitive loss list. So they, because I was worried that maybe they didn't hear about it, but it sounds like you took efforts to make sure that they did hear about it. So thank you. That gives me comfort.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, too, on that point, Commissioner Hammond, we're also reaching out to them again concerning the additional assistance that might be available with the new allocation and the Elevate Florida program.
Okay, that's good.
Chairman, if I may, I guess one of the questions I have, are there some of this money we've allocated out, are there people that haven't met criteria at this time? And are those funds, do those funds have a possibility of going back out for people to bid out, try to get again? In other words, if someone hasn't met the requirements, are those funds, do we have a possibility of putting those back out for people to try to get it as well? What do we do with those?
Yes, sir. I would say probably maybe as early as August, perhaps more likely in the fall, we'll be able to come back to the board with a very specific dollar amount of Lee Cares funding, the individual housing assistance funding, that wasn't spent on all of the eligible applicants. The board would then have some decisions to make as to how to repurpose those funds. One possibility would be to tweak the parameters of the program to make additional people eligible. I think that requires a little bit of flexibility from HUD that we're pursuing through waiver requests, but that is certainly something that would be an option for the board to consider.
No, thank you for bringing that up. And if I may, I had a few of my constituents ask me about that may have fell through the cracks on the Ian requests. It was complicated paperwork and a lot of qualifications, and people were overwhelmed. And if there's a way to recapture some of those opportunities, I would appreciate that as well. So.
Yes, sir. And I would also just say to the public that if they were damaged by Hurricane Ian, there's a fair chance that they probably received some impacts from either Helene or Milton, and they should go to our pre-application webpage right now and apply for that funding assistance, because that is fully up and running, and it'll mimic just pretty much what we did in Ian too. So
they can pre-apply right now for this money ahead of time to be in line.
Yes, sir.
To make sure that we get all the qualifications, paperwork shaken out, ready when the money's ready to deploy.
That's right. We'll start vetting them for eligibility, get their documents in order. Hopefully as soon as HUD gets us a grant agreement, we will be ready to roll.
And that's on our website now, easy to find?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's right out. You can link to it from our main page, our homepage.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Great. Okay, we have a motion and a second. And we already have public comments. So any objection? Objection, motion carried. Thank you. Next, we have public hearing, number 37. Joe Adams.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Joe Adams of the County Attorney's Office. Both of your public hearings have been properly advertised, and I have both affidavits of publication for your clerk. The first hearing is a petition to create the Crescent Walk Community Development District. The petition is consistent with Chapter 190 of the Florida statutes, and staff recommends approval. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Great. Any questions for staff at this time? Any public comment on item 37? Come back to the board for action.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion from Commissioner Greenwell, second Commissioner Hammond. Any other discussion? Any objection? No objection, motion carries. Thank you. Number 38, you have that one too?
I do. The second hearing is ordinance amending several chapters of the Land Development Code. The amendments are being brought forward by staff to streamline development regulations, and staff is available if there's any questions from the board.
Great. Any questions for the staff at this time? Okay, we have some comment card. I believe Marcia Ellis, you turn on 38?
Good morning, Commissioners. Marcia Ellis for the record. So I am concerned about the changes to the Land Development Code, as it states that these are about streamlining regulations. However, what we're losing is the protection of the public interest. For interest, I am opposed to, and I believe many folks are opposed to, increasing discretionary powers by administrative action that remove the public's ability to give comment on development. For instance, if you have, there's a provision for a single ingress egress that previously would have triggered there being a public hearing on that matter so that folks that live in the area and know the traffic best can give comment on whether or not a single ingress or egress is a safety concern or not. And this has come up with several developments. Especially when we have ingress and egress in areas that are also on the floodplain. All right, so we're talking about building in a floodplain or intensifying development in a floodplain with a single ingress and egress. All right, folks in the community need to be able to weigh in on this. We have some changes that are proposed in here to the floodplain ordinances. Again, we have the opportunity to update practices and address things like build and fill that risk transfer onto the surrounding property owners. Those things aren't in there. Instead, we have an accessory dwelling elevation exception when really the floodplain ordinance in CRS is about reducing flood risk. And by reducing flood risk, we earn community-wide discounts. I am opposed to, by administrative approval, allowing in the airport wildlife hazard area to increase the slope from 6 to 1 to 4 to 1 because that is a safety risk that increases the likelihood of somebody drowning if these developments go on to, let's say, become apartments down the road because you've overbuilt development in that area. Then you have a 4 to 1 slope, which is steeper, and then a deep dive because to save money, you have literally built these lakes way too deep to generate the fill. They are a safety hazard. This would rob the community the ability to be able to put comment in every time that these stormwater lakes come in front of the community. We want to be able to weigh in because they are a safety concern. Let me also say that the amendment to 34145 that would allow the hearing examiner to put in gas pumps without it coming before the public, that is disingenuous because we know that the public has been...
Time's up. Sorry. Okay. Any other comments on this item? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
We have a motion approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Any objection? No objection. Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, move on to walk-on carryovers. Dave, do you have this one? Come on down, Ben. No rain in the forecast this week, so it's going to get worse as it goes.
Come on, Ben, give us some rain.
Unfortunately, sir, that is the case. Benjamin Avis, Public Safety for the record. As we have found ourselves yet again, we have a drought index that has exceeded 600, which is the threshold in Ordinance 18-09 to enact a burn ban. That threshold was surpassed on Friday, and on Sunday I received correspondence from the Florida Forest Service as well as from the Lee County Fire Chiefs Association requesting that the board consider a burn ban. The burn ban is considered a local state of emergency, so we would be asking you to enact the SOLE as well as the burn ban. That would be in effect for periods of 7 days and renewed each time on that 7-day period until we see some decrease in the drought index. And speaking with the Weather Service, they're saying in the next 30 days we're not expecting significant precipitation, so we would expect this to continue for at least the next month. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Any questions for staff at this time?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
If we, again, a rookie question, maybe if we already have an ordinance for this, why do we have to declare a state of emergency to enact the rules of an ordinance?
Mr. Chairman?
Richard?
The ordinance outlines the parameters for actually implementing a ban burn, and it sets the standards by which this requested action takes place. So the ordinance itself is the framework to establish the process that allows us to bring this resolution forward to actually implement the burn ban.
So it's specific to this?
Yes, sir.
burn ban,
We don't have
not the whole master state of emergency,
Right.
like hurricane level?
Correct.
Okay.
It sets the parameter. I believe the index is 600.
Correct.
That once that index reaches 600, staff brings forward a resolution to actually implement a burn ban pursuant to the ordinance.
Sure. No, I absolutely support the safety side of this. It's just, this was a walk-on. I didn't have a chance to ask any questions before this meeting, so thank you.
And if I may, in the resolution that enacts the burn ban, it does not delegate any additional powers or authorities like you would see during a storm event, for instance.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Any other questions for staff? Any public comment on this item? Okay, come back to board for a motion.
I'll make a motion to have the ban.
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. Any other discussion, any objection? No objection. Thank you. Okay, what are the commissioner items? Commissioner Hammond.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I would like to just talk to you guys a little bit about an opportunity. I got to give credit where credit is due. I heard a great idea from Commissioner Mullica a couple meetings ago where he asked in-house county staff if they could fix something that was a relatively simple fix. And we agreed to it, and it's getting done, which is fantastic. So I went to this Kurt Donaldson Park. It used to be Hancock, baseball field, right, where the Little League, plays. So there's one dugout. All the other dugouts are concrete dugouts with a great roof on top of them, and they're intact and usable. There's one that's not usable. The roof blew off, and, some cinder blocks are gone. I talked to our Parks and Rec staff, and they said that it's possible we could go ahead and fix that too and handle that as well. And so they gave me some language to share with you all. I'd like to make a motion to approve immediate repairs to the dugout at Kurt Donaldson Park that was damaged due to Hurricane Ian in an amount not to exceed $15,000. So it's a small project. The county has submitted this project to FEMA for reimbursement and will continue to seek that reimbursement. However, this may impact the reimbursement if we just handle it. And this will provide a permanent structure for the youth leagues. So I'd make that motion, would appreciate y'all's support on that.
I'll second that motion because I'll probably sit in that dugout at some point.
That's cool.
So, yeah, I think it's a great idea.
To me, it just goes back to the parents who, use that park and the kids who use that park. They see this one dugout and they're like, oh man, when are they going to fix the hurricane damage? And if we fix that one thing, that park, everything's going to seem more normal for them. It just helps them mentally move on from the storm. So thank you all.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Any public comment on that motion?
I was going to co-second that just because it piggybacked a good idea I was mentioned in.
There you go.
Okay, any objection? No objection?
Still in your idea.
Thank you. I have one. I'll go ahead and go last. Commissioner Maluka, do you have a commissioner item? No. Commissioner Greenwell? Okay, great. I'd like to have one. We're out in the community, throughout the community, we always hear different things from the people. And something I've been, recently, I've been a lot of comments about, this to myself, to other, about the county itself, is code enforcement issues in Lehigh Acres. We've had issues obviously in San Carlos Park areas, we have in North Mars, Lehigh Acres, different areas of the county, but I wanted to emphasize to staff and ask a couple of questions, give us an update. Years ago, we passed an ordinance about no semi-trucks in neighborhoods. This is an ongoing problem in Lehigh Acres. We obviously have, Lehigh Acres is kind of a workforce neighborhood, and so we have a lot of people driving big, 18-wheelers and dump trucks and taking them home, parking them on their front yards, parking them on the street. But they're also, we spend a lot of money in the Lehigh Acres repaving roads out there and getting roads repaired. So these trucks are causing a lot of damage to these roads as they pull off the shoulder and stuff. So if someone could give me an update where we are as like enforcement, because some people, for some reason in Lehigh Acres, you have a few residents out there obviously trying to make, make comments and whatever. They have their own goal. They want to get elected or they want to create a city in Lehigh. We get that. But the point is, though, there is code violations going on. And where are we enforcing? Some people, for some reason, think we're not enforcing things in Lehigh, because Lehigh is so big. We all know how big it is. And do we need more code enforcement officers? Do the code enforcement officers there need more tools to get their job done? And also ask, are they working currently with the Sheriff's Department in any way, interacting with community policing within the area to work together? Because when they're out in the neighborhood, they're seeing things that should be interacting. So I don't know if someone in your staff could give me an update on that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to ask Mr. Mora to respond.
Good morning, Mark. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioner. Great question, and you're accurate. We did add 2 new officers. The board provided us the support, so we onboarded those folks. They've been working since January. Happy to report that they have addition of those 2 officers had 196 self-initiated code violations in February and March. So we're stepping up enforcement. In the first quarter of 2025, 407 complaints were submitted by the public and have been investigated, and we've opened 1,447 code violations during that first quarter. That's January through March. So we have more violations occurring out there. I encourage folks that live in Lehigh to continue to report them. You had a question in regards to do we work with LCSO? We certainly do. With commercial truck parking, obviously there's some aspects of the ordinance that the Sheriff's Office has to address if they're parked in the right-of-way. So we certainly communicate with them, but also illegal dumping is an issue in Lehigh Acres, and we work in partnership with Solid Waste Code Enforcement and LCSO to curtail that.
Are they getting compliance with the Sheriff's Department? They call for the Sheriff's Department to come out to tow a truck or to issue a citation? Are they getting compliance with the Sheriff's Department? Are they working with them? Do you know?
I'm not quite sure of the process.
Okay.
I am certain that we're contacting them and they're following up and create the citation if required.
So you said, I think 198 was self-initiated with those 2 officers throughout the year? Because some reason they think that they're not only responding to calls that people are creating, but they're actually doing their self-initiation, driving around seeing violations, because it's unfortunate. Obviously, people don't know what we're doing, so they all make assume the code enforcement officers are sitting around not doing anything. But I know they're out there doing self-initiation. Could you, by a chance, email me that information so I can share that with the residents who are concerned about the enforcement?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner
Vice
Greenwell?
Chairman, if I may. Also, Mark, I think one of the problems we have out there is first offense, they get a warning. Second offense, they get a $100 fine. And then third offense is the $250 fine. That's cheaper than renting a place to park your truck.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, people will move, and then as soon as we go away, they come right back and get another fine. But then they just don't pay the fines. So I think one of the things that we need to look into trying to crack down on is the fact that, and there's also a lot of places that are running businesses out of residential properties and parking multiple trucks there. So it appears like it's a business, and I think we need to crack down on those as well, because you see it not just in Lehigh. I see it, in my area and over in Alva. I see that going on. So, and I think people are nervous of reporting them because they have to put their name on it, and then neighbors are mad at neighbors. So us being proactive and getting out, which we are, is I think really the key. So thank you for that update, Commissioner. Thank you for bringing that up.
I know we raised fines. Does that increase? Has that made a difference at all? Can you tell within the code enforcement staff they've seen a noticeable more of a consideration not to do this?
More compliance, I'm unsure if we've seen a difference because we've raised the maximum fines. I believe a lot of these cases are probably just getting in front of the HECS at this point. It's a long, drawn-out process. I think from the perspective of a lot of residents, it appears as though code enforcement's not doing anything, but the caseload is extremely high with the hearing and examiner, and some of these cases are taking months before they're heard.
Right.
So I think we'll have data to support whether or not the increase of fines is actually creating more compliance or not soon.
And I just want to say thank you to the code enforcement officers out there doing their jobs. We know they're doing it, so thank you to them, Will and Mickey, their staff, for doing their job. They're doing a great job. It's just, obviously, it's such a big area. I know we'll probably look at that next year about increasing that size of that area as far as patrols, because to have some type of compliance. So again, thank you. The second part of this conversation, we'll talk about it, how we bring it up later, is the fining. Once you get the fine, are we collecting the fines? Where's that money going? There's a lot of fines out there that have been, but not actually collected. So that's another conversation. Right now, our main goal is compliance. We don't want the money. We just want people to correct the problem and create a great community. So again, thank you, and thank you to your staff for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Anybody else have any other items?
I just had a couple. Can I ask a couple of questions on that?
There's no action, so there's no public comment on that.
Just a couple of follow-up questions, Mr. Chair, if you don't.
Yeah.
How does the amount of violations increase with the additional staff from year over year or quarter over quarter with the new team added that we talked about? How does that compare with before they got here?
Great question, Commissioner. I don't have that data in front of me. We can certainly mail it to you. Just with the addition of these 2 new code officers, those are the 196 that I mentioned that they self-initiated. So that's a good indicator that we're doing more enforcement just because we have more resources out on the streets there.
Okay. No, I'm glad to hear the extra efforts. And to Commissioner Greenwell's point, if it's cheaper to get a fine than it is to rent a lot in a commercial yard, then that's something we need to be able to make sure that we can balance out as well. So
absolutely.
Thank you for that.
Thank you for the update. I'll look forward to the information. Okay, we'll go to Commissioner appointments. Commissioner Hammond, do you have any appointments?
None today, Mr. Chairman.
I have a few reappointments. I have a new appointment for Gary Griffin to the IDA, reappointment of Tanglewood Improvement Unit, City Roberts, Vicki Little to the Parks and Recreation Service.
Second.
Any public comment on the appointments? Any objection? No objection. Motion carried. Commissioner Maluka?
None.
No? Commissioner Greenwell? Okay. County manager items.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We have one item related to CDBG-DR, and I'd like to ask Mr. Salyer to present.
Thank you. Commissioners, you had awarded CDBG-DR funds for construction of Phase 2 of St. Peter Claver Place Apartments, 72 affordable rental units. The loan agreement that the board executed specified a financial closing date of no later than April 10. National Development did need to delay their closing, but Mr. Miller is here today and has indicated that they are now ready to proceed, so they can close with their other lenders. However, they need some signification from the board that this award is still in play. And so we are seeking your direction as to whether or not you want us to bring this award back to your next board meeting to consider granting an extension on the closing date that was contained in the loan agreement. And you remember the board had directed us to include those dates with all of our agreements so that you could reconsider whether or not to proceed on a case-by-case basis if it wasn't working as intended.
Is the applicant going to make a statement or question?
If you want him to speak or answer questions, he's here.
Comment only if there's public, if there's action taken, if there's a motion or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there's a motion based upon the staff recommendation.
I'm open-minded to extending it as long as we know we have a deal. I don't see any reason to stay it in the way, personally.
If I may ask just a couple questions for clarification. So it's the same project that we already awarded funding to, correct, Glenn? Has anything changed with the project?
Yes, sir. There's no change to material terms that we're aware of.
So just really it's a week and a half difference? I mean, really from the April 10th date to April 5th. Yeah, okay. So it's not even a full week different. Then you'll just bring this back to us at the next meeting. We'll approve an extension, and then they can go to close with the project that we intended on helping out with or whatever. So awarding the funds through CDBG-DR.
Yeah, if the board extends, then correct, everything would just
It's
go.
a time-only extension is all that's being requested, no other
They're only requesting the extension on the closing
All
requirement.
right, I'll make that motion then, that you guys would bring that back to us at the next meeting.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay.
If I could, I think part of the motion was also to allow staff to notify the lender of the board's intent to bring it back for consideration at your next meeting. The notification would be strictly as to your intent to consider it at your next meeting. It would not be a guarantee of approval, but it's our understanding that would create some comfort level in the lender. So if we could make that part of the motion, it would be appreciated.
I'll amend my motion to include the county attorney's comments there, and assume you'll amend your second. There you go.
Glenn, again, so what was the reason for the extension? What happened within the timeline didn't work out?
Commissioner, I don't know specifically why the closing with the other financial parties was delayed. I'm not personally aware.
Do you know?
Mr. Miller's here if you wanted to answer that.
We can comment, yeah.
Okay. I was asking if staff had a reason to know why without having to, do we know why? No, okay. Okay, we have a motion, a second, and any public comment on this section? Public comment?
You can talk, yes. I'm Matt Miller with National Development of America. I'm the developer for St. Peter Claver Place Phase 2. We are requesting some acknowledgement here. We were scheduled to close on April 10th. All the documents had April 10th. We couldn't get everything finalized with the docs by last Thursday. Got extended to closing date of today, April 15th. We've been working with county staff and their third party. We got 5 of the 6 pages with the corrected date. We did not have 1 page that has the signature, county signature on it. We noticed this last night, so we are requesting that, some sort of acknowledgement that we can close today, just knowing that this will be brought to the next BoCC meeting for this extension. So we don't want to delay closing for 2.5, 3 weeks when everything is in place to close today.
Great, good, thank you. Okay, thank you.
Makes sense.
Any other public comment on this action? Come back to board with any other discussion. We have a motion, a second. Any objection? No objection, motion carried. Great, thank you. David, did you have anything else?
No, we do not.
Thank you. County attorney items.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. Just an update. At your last meeting, our office was requested to take a look at the question as to whether the county could, via charter amendment, establish term limits for constitutional officers. We've had the opportunity to research that question. There is not a case directly on point. However, there are 2 cases. One is Telley versus Broward County. The other is Orange County versus Singh. They're both Florida Supreme Court decisions that leads us to the reasonable legal conclusion that via the charter amendment process, term limits could be established for constitutional officers in Lee County. And we're available for any questions.
Okay, thank you.
No actions required today, just informational update.
Okay, great, thank you. Anything else? That's it?
No, sir.
Okay, great, thank you. Now we'll move on to a public presentation on matters concerning citizens. We have one card. Jay Whipple.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Jay Whipple. I live at 4073 Shore Lane on Boca Grant. And I'm sorry to see that Kevin's not here, but our prayers continue to be with him and his family. This is a sort of report on the ground. Under the category of better late than never, all the finger streets appear to be open, but there are cones and signages still in front of 4th and 5th parking that are confusing parkers. And we'd love to have those removed so that there isn't any confusion about the availability of parking on 4th and 5th. This has taken huge pressure off the Gilchrist median. In addition, thankfully, spring break's over. The pressure's off. The 1 month that we always have an incredible amount of traffic in our house in the city is gone. The overwhelming crowds are down to a trickle, and they're being easily handled by the existing and historical parking. We do still continue to have enforcement issues on Gilchrist. Flags are appearing everywhere. Irrigation systems are being installed on the right-of-ways where residents are accelerating the planting of the county right-of-way without permits. This is eliminating alternative parking for beachgoers and putting more pressure on the median. Confusion still reigns as visitors don't understand that they can park on the remaining spots that haven't been taken over by these curb lawns. Personally, I'm disappointed still that I have not been able to get any action on my FOIA requests. There's been no progress. And I still have not got an answer as to why Wheeler Park is now being restricted to only users of the dog park and the tennis courts. That means that there are generally about 2 parking spots being used out of the 40 parking spots that are available. I was truly surprised to hear last meeting the hardworking, dedicated Boca Grande Planning Commission maligned for not working under sunshine laws, when suddenly there's an endorsement of some Byzantine 17-page proposal written in secret by an unidentified outside group with no adherence to sunshine laws. I'm sure the hypocrisy of this is not lost on most of you. Who's really directing public policy when staff isn't even consulted? Where is the promised transparency? Private luncheons and dinners do not constitute listening. Where's the engagement with the whole community? It occurred to me there's one thing that all these discussions have forgotten. Why don't we just resod the median now? You're going to do it anyway. It worked the last time you did it. People are respectful of not parking on the grass, and we wouldn't get the construction vehicles off that dirt parkway that we're looking at now. We're still trying to recover from the, I'm sorry, I've run out of time. But I really wonder, will the modern day Richie Riches really succeed in kicking Lazarus off the island? Stay tuned.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Thank you. Good morning. Marcia Ellis for the record. So I just wanted to just jump in a little bit about pursuing these environmental crimes in Lehigh Acres. I am absolutely 100% in favor of pursuing these environmental crimes throughout the county. And in fact, when we were developing the Gopher Tortoise surveying app, we included in that app a place to be able to document illegal dumping, because with boots on the ground, we find it a lot. Second of all, let me say, when it comes to folks who are parking their dump trucks and their semi-trucks that they use to make a living, to provide for their families in Lehigh Acres, but on Alico Road, when we looked at the CMEX mine extension, we pretty much left a multi-billion-dollar corporation off the hook for the extra enforcement that was requested by staff and for the maintenance of the damage to Alico Road. So we left a multi-billion-dollar corporation off the hook on the same issue that we want to ask the working families of Lehigh Acres to have to put out extra money to have some place to park their dump trucks and park their semi-trucks so that they can make a living for their family. I think that we could have economic development look at some ways that could support those workers in industry to have some lots and work with some shuttles or something besides persecuting our community that's working hard. Now, let me talk about this Alico Road out of the box idea that I unfortunately had to read about in Gulf Shore Business, though I have written to our safety czar of the state of Florida when it comes to transportation, who isn't playing, the federal government, and given comment in every opportunity given to me by the MPO, and participated at the Hilton when y'all came in there with your ideas. Now, it is not okay to put a 2-lane road where we need a 4-lane road where I'm getting out of my road onto the highway and merging with dump truck traffic because y'all let CMEX off the hook, and we've got dump trucks and people, and then we want to open the floodgates from Lehigh for people to come in on a 2-lane road and have head-on collisions. Head-on collisions. This is unsafe. I absolutely stand against it. It is a hard pass. And if that's what you're planning, you need to bring it back to the people who are going to be impacted so that we can weigh in. I understand that we need a reliever out there, and I have not stood in the way of that. But I had just asked that you be responsible leaders and you provide infrastructure that matches the degree of the problem and keep people safe.
Any other public comments? Willie Joe, Joyce?
morning. My name is Joyce Campana, a Lee County resident of District 2. I'm here to provide what I think is clarification to an issue that was discussed at the April 1 board meeting. At that time, I spoke about Conservation 2020 purchases, which I am not against. According to the YouTube of the meeting, Commissioner Hammond commented after the public input on item 42 regarding the purchase of land in East Fort Myers, expressing concern over false statements regarding the selling of Conservation 2020 land. I'm here to let you all know it is never my intent to provide false information or rumors when I speak before this body. The goal of my comments is to provide more information or clarity on public policy issues within Lee County and before this governing body. On 3 different occasions, commissioners have discussed selling or leasing Conservation 2020 land, which can lead the public to question whether or not Conservation 2020 land can ever be sold. And I'm going to outline those 3 instances, and if I've misinterpreted them, then fine, but it's not on purpose and it's not malicious. At the February 20 strategic planning workshop, on the audio tape that I listened to, Commissioner Mullica brought up for discussion not buying land, but just the development rights to 2020 conservation land. Second instance, it made me kind of have some lights go off. During the same strategic planning workshop on the audio, Commissioner Pendergrass stated during the downturn in 2007-2008, economic crash, when 40% of the tax base was gone and everything was frozen, that commissioners not only had to lay off employees, but they also used 2020 funds to keep the lights on. To think this couldn't happen again, or even worse, to require selling 2020 properties is not out of the realm of possibilities. According to the draft minutes, this is instance number 3 of the March 4 board meeting under commissioner items, the board approved directing staff to create a boat slip rights transfer program in order to transfer surplus slips to the public for purchase. The money used from the purchase could be used in the management fund to keep the Conservation 2020 land cleaned and maintained. If this can be done with the boat slips, what is to stop the board from doing this with land if Conservation 2020 land becomes too costly to maintain, or there's a major financial or economic downturn? I brought these instances up, and I've questioned this, not to be presenting a false narrative, but to raise questions and scenarios that might happen because parcels are not in a trust. Thank you. My time is up.
Thank you. Next speaker, Billy Joe.
So we're all trying to seek funds and that, and we do need the emergency scattered housing. So I've told the mayor, about having like a youth hostel setting that would bring in revenue. I'd be glad to be an innkeeper or whatever also, just so we, can get people off the streets, okay? So the emergency scattered housing is needed. The development in Suncoast is needed for Charlie. The development of the area around this area or Cape Coral or any of their places, Bonita, is needed, so people are not on the street. And there's bringing in revenue. If you have something that's bringing in revenue to aid the needs of a continuum of care of housing. I wanted to touch on the unsafety of Merchants Crossing. There's a lot of people with walkers trying to catch the 140. That's an issue. That's very dangerous trying to cross in the middle, even though you got that little stop there to, rest to that with your walker or whatever. It is very dangerous. The bus, they need to come up with something else. And also you have a child that is about 10 years old in Palm Beach, a Latino little boy, that is not going to school. I don't know why. It's been addressed. Human Services tried to catch him at the park and that. The boy needs to go to school. He's running with adults, 30 years old or so, and he's like 10 years old. No, we don't have that, not in America. A child needs education. I wish I got my education. I was kept out of school, and that I learned from people like you. throughout the years. So we need that. We need to be a continuum of care of people about communities. Okay, I thank you for your time.
Thank you, William.
And I got to go up Charlie and the community center. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, we'll come back to the board and wish everybody a happy Easter. We'll have, at 2 o'clock, we have a joint meeting today with the Charlotte County Commission up in Charlotte County. Any other comments from the board? Okay, we'll be adjourned. Thank you.